ॐ तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः. The nectar of thy words revives the scorched spirit of human beings. They purify the sinner and are the life of the holy. To hear them itself is auspicious and peace generating. They are the real givers who spread thy name far and wide. So we are in the gospel and the page number is 375. And the chapter is M at Dakshineswar, part 2. So the gospel, as it is said, the words are like nectar, so sweet, and so peace generating, and remover of all the afflictions caused by the world. So this peace generating, joy giving book, the word nectar like word of God in the form of Sri Ramakrishna, this just touch our heart. Let us continue. At 8 is the which paragraph? Okay, the chapter like thing begins. There is a bigger gap here. The upper portion is almost in the middle of the page. At 8 o'clock that evening, the master was sitting that evening, or January 2, 1884 was that evening. At 8 o'clock that evening, the master was sitting in his room with Rakhal and M. It was the 21st day of M's stay with Sri Ramakrishna. The master had forbidden him to indulge in reasoning. So M has recorded everything, the time, what time this conversation began, what time the previous conversation began, who were present, how was the situation. Everything details, he brings the graphic picture of the day and time and surrounding and who and the people around Sri Ramakrishna. So you just can imagine and be there. It's all the visualization in words that M is capable of making that. So in reading this, we also become one of the persons seated there. We find ourselves present there as if Sri Ramakrishna is saying. M says Sri Ramakrishna had forbidden him to reason. Always reasoning is the path of jnana, finding viveka. Always, this is right or that is right. Vichara. Vichara is viveka. Nitya nitya vastu viveka. That is called vichara. So that what is right, what is eternal, and what is temporary. What is that type of vichara? Whether this is right or wrong. So Sri Ram M was by nature liked. When Sri Ramakrishna asked him, "What do you like, God with form or God without form?" He said, "I like God without form." And Sri Ramakrishna says, "Okay, that's good, but never think that those who worship God with form are mistaken, are wrong. God exists and reveals in both ways. So those who worship God with form are equally right, equally correct, as those who worship God without form." So now about reasoning, that AM was likened to reason out whether this is right or wrong, whether God should be like that. In the first meeting itself, in the previous meetings, he said, he started talking to Sri Ramakrishna. Why worship Mother Durga, divine mother in the image? Image is made of clay, and divine is made of consciousness. Why they worship there? And then Sri Ramakrishna said that why you consider that image as made of clay? That why you can't see consciousness there, and that's why you say it is made of clay. Um, there is the invoked divine mother is invoked there. There is the presence. Even that clay image is the symbol of the conscious being, conscious divine, conscious presence. Then Em said, then people should at least speak that image is not God, mother is pure consciousness, and that this image represents, it is the symbol of God. People should be taught. They worship the image as the divine herself, as the mother herself. They offer food, they offer flowers, as if they are worshipping the image, that Durga Pratima. Sri Ramakrishna became sharply, he said, am right. Sri Ramakrishna sharply he wrote, your is always like teaching to the people. If mother wants, she will teach. Just have faith that mother is there and let people enjoy in whatever way they enjoy the worship of God. So like that he had rebuked in the beginning. So like that, EM was because of Brahmo Samaj and all that. That Brahmo Samaj went against image worship, and they said God cannot be worshipped in image. God treating image as God is not the right thing. God is divine consciousness. How can that be worshipped in stone or in a clay image or in some symbol like that in Shivalinga? Shivalinga is not God according to reasoning person. They don't understand that those people who can worship God through the image, they find so much joy in being with God. They may not, who understand God fully, God cannot be understood fully. So whatever way we understand about God, that is God for us, and that is enough. If we try to teach them that that is not God, so that will rather harm their devotion or their spiritual practice. So let them worship God the way they can do. And there is no wrong. God has become everything. When the clay image, it is God. There's nothing but divine presence in everything that we see in the world. And that's why, and Sri Ramakrishna said about him that I can see your face, and by that I can see that you have a great spiritual potentiality. That's why when he said I was married and I had children, Sri Ramakrishna was taken aback, and he explained, I was seeing you to be a great spiritual uh, potential, but this your being involved in the family life will be difficult for you to rise that high, or you will have to do more work on that. And Yam did work. He rose that height. He became the knower of God, as sannyasin do. So that was Yam's, by the grace of Sri Ramakrishna, he could do that. That's why when he wanted to renounce the world, Sri Ramakrishna said, no, you don't have to. So here, Sri Ramakrishna had asked him not to reason. He writes here. Now let us see the conversation. Master to Rakhal, it is not good to reason too much. First comes God and then the world. Realize God first. Then you will know all about His world. To M and Rakhal. If first one is introduced to Jadu Mullik, then one can know everything about him, the number of his houses, gardens, government securities, and so on. For this reason, the Rishi Narada advised Valmiki to repeat the word Mara. Ma means God and Ra the world. First comes God and then the world. Krishna Kishore said that the word Mara is a holy mantra because it was given to Valmiki by the Rishi. Ma means God and Ra the world. Again, he said this thing. So, first God, he is Sri Ramakrishna's favorite saying is Age Ishwar Pare Sab. First God, then everything else. Because God is the creator, source of this whole world. So when you have devotion to God, then the world becomes a place worth living, enjoyable. You can really enjoy the life in the world if we have attained that devotion to God. Otherwise, world is like a whirlpool. You will not be able to stand. It is very dangerous. It will put you down. through so many conflicting things in the world because you don't have anywhere to hold on. When you have God with you, you can hold on to God and you can tackle the dribbling of this world. This world is like a great play where you will be thrown out. People, you have seen the football matches, how people are kicked and somebody throws and falls down and like that. So the world is like that. There are football player and not everything is safe and just in the play of the world. That is the world. In the football match also it is like that. Sometimes they get yellow card and red card. Sometimes the referee doesn't see them. So taking that thing, they play a foul, and the person falls. The best person he was going, and something happens, doesn't do. But that is a part of the football game. So that's how the world is. And referee is God. When we are always with the referee, if referee is always attentive to us, so nobody can dare to do such mistake, and because he will be punished, he will be shown red card and will be thrown out of the match. So this God is the referee. First, we have to have connection with the referee done, and then we can be very nicely play in the world, and then world can do nothing to us. That's what Sri Ramakrishna is saying here. Full is first first gain devotion to God, first gain spiritually, be spiritually matured, and then you can handle the things of the world easily, and you can remain very joyful, and you will really live like a human being. The world will be ineffective to though trying hard to put you down, it will be ineffective to really hurt you. In that sense, you will not be hurt. You may fall, but you will not be hurt. That is the power of God that happens. So, and he says about the story that we know, when Valmiki was asked, Ratnakara was asked by Narada, say this mantra, holy mantra, name of Rama, simplest of God's name, Rama. He said, Rama, say Rama. He couldn't say Rama because his life was so unholy. The very pure and holy name of God he could not pronounce. How unholy was his life, Ratnakara's life. But Narada would not let go. He must have seen something divine in the heart of Ratnakara. Though he did so much wrong things, but his heart was pure, sincere, and he wanted him to uplift spiritually. So he was not going to give up. So you cannot do name Rama, so your life will be all doomed in the life of a highwayman, a dacoit. No, this Narada would not leave. He wants to take whole humanity towards Godwards. Repeat the name of Narayana, Rama. So he didn't even say Narayana. He didn't say Vasudeva. Why he chose Rama? Rama is the simplest name of God. Rama, very simple. But that also, that Ratnakara could not say. Then Narada said, then say Mara. Mara. So, but he said, Mara, surprisingly, this Ratnakara could pronounce Mara. Then he said, repeat Mara, 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 Rama, Rama. It becomes Rama. So, but Sri Ramakrishna gives another thing. Why he gave the name Mara to Ratnakara, not Rama. Rama, one thing he could not do, but he didn't try any other name. And he says Mara also has a meaning. Mara is first Ma means God and Ra means world. First God, then world. Aage Ishwar, Pare Sab. First God, then everything else. That's what Sri Ramakrishna is saying is. So he actually introduced to Valmiki, to Ratnakar, first Ma, first God, and then world. God, world should come after God. So first catch hold of God, have gained the devotion to God, be full of godly thoughts, then you can handle the world very nicely. That was saying. And he also said that Krishna ki then Mara, how the Mara, Rama is the mantra we all say. Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasra Nama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane. There is the verse. Sri Rama 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 iti. That when Rame Rame Manorame, my my heart rejoices in repeating the name of Rama. Rame means my heart rejoices. I rejoice. I repeating the name of Rama, Rama, Rama. Says it is actually Shiva saying to Parvati. And Rame, Rame, Manorama. It's so Manorama. It's so delightful. The name of Rama, name of God as Rama. Sahasranama Tatulyam Ramanama Varanane. Ramanama is equal to thousand name of God. Thousand name of God means thousand name Vishnu Sahasranama. Thousand name of God, thousand name of Vishnu. Ramanama, one name of Rama is equal to thousand names of God, thousand names of Vishnu. The merit of chanting the thousand names of Vishnu, the Vishnu Sahasranama, 120 verses, is equal to saying Rama once. So much is glory of Rama is said, praise of Rama said to Parvati. Parvati was concerned. They said, if you chant Vishnu Sahasranam, you will attain purity of heart. So she said, it's quite many verses, 120 verses. People are so much busy in the world. Oh Lord, how will they, everyone will be able to chant the name of God, 120 verses, 1,000 names. So Shiva says, there is another way. Say Rama once, it is equal to chanting Vishnu Sahasranama whole 120 verses. So it says, Ram Sahasranama Tatulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Rama Nama and the blissful face, the blessing of the face of Rama. Rama's face itself, Vara Anana. We said Vara Hasta, the hand that gives blessing. Rama's face, remembering the face of Rama, is itself blessing for us. Just our remembering that, says Shiva to Parvati. If you remember the face of Rama, then that itself is blissful. Now, Rama's face, we don't have picture of Rama. How to remember the face of Rama? But there are the painting. There are nicely done paintings and drawings where a beautiful face of Rama is done. Even thinking of imaginary face of Rama as the face of human being, that itself becomes blissful and blessing for us. Name, Rama name, and the face, even imaginary face of a human being. Didn't Swami Vivekananda say, when he said, have you seen God? So he said, yes, I have seen God. In fact, you also see God. But what ignorant call human, that is God. Man of knowledge says God. Every human face is the face of God. So imaginary face of Rama is also Rama's face. So that also gives joy. The statues, image, one person came here and he was talking about, just recently visiting Toronto, and he was talking about Shanta Durga in Goa. And he said, the Divine Mother is decorated so beautifully with flowers and ornaments that when you look at her, you don't want to take eyes away. So there the divinity comes in the decoration, done with all devotion and exclusively beautifully done, decorated the Divine Mother's face. After all, it is just the imaginary carving, but imagination becomes real. The devotion, the charm, the attraction, all comes in that shrine. That's how Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani, that we go to pilgrimage. Kashi is a great pilgrimage, Vrindavan, Rameshwaram, we all say. But how really they became Tirtha? Narada says in the Narada Bhakti Sutra, Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani. The Tirthas have been made by the Tirthi. The people who go to pilgrimage, actually they create the Tirtha because they go with holy thoughts and going by many people visiting there, all thought of God, they get condensed there, and anyone going there catches that thought and reaps the benefit of visiting the place of pilgrimage, like Varanasi. So right from all Shiva himself stays there. That what we believe, and there who has not gone? All from everyone has visited Varanasi. From in our history, Shankaracharya and all Ballavacharya, all Acharyas, all incarnation, they have visited Varanasi. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda, Holy Mother, everyone has gone to Varanasi, including all the rishis, saints, monks, devotees, with all. And all that gets accumulated, and Varanasi becomes the real Tirtha where people without devotion also goes. If they have little stuff, they feel the presence. I met one Westerner and who was there in Varanasi. And I said, how do you like the city? He said, I like it. There I feel the vibration. And I said, so much crowd and dirty and doesn't matter you. He says, no, I don't look at it. I can feel the vibration, the holy spiritual vibration of this city. The Ganga, the temples, the devotees rushing regularly, taking, the devotees are so habituated there. They will take a dip in Ganga, go to Vishwanath daily without fail. There are such devotees there. Chant Shiva, Shiva Nama Sankirtanam, that name. Mahimna Stotra fully, Shiva Mahimna Stotra. And daily they will chant that without seeing. So, and that is regular routine before going to office. That all they will do early in the morning, 4 o'clock will rise, and that all is very much set in the Varanasi. So that's how Varanasi becomes a holy city, because the holy person visit there. Tirthi kurvanti tirthani. That's how this Rama imaginary even is the face. Rama Nama Varanane. His face is itself is blessing. Says the Rama Nama Varanane. Rama Nama, and remembering the face of Rama, and the word Rama itself gives us blessing. So that's why Rama, the very word of Rama, is pleasing. Rama Ramyate iti Rama. What pleases our heart is Rama. So Sri Ramakrishna said about the Rama, and he said how this Mara, Krishna Kishore said, and he likes, Sri Ramakrishna liked that explanation, that Mara has also become a holy mantra, because Narada gave it to Ratnakar. It became mantra. It transformed the life of Narada, the life of Ratnakara. So that has the potency. Chaitanya, their power of mantra is found out how it changes the life, and person like Ratnakara can be transformed into Valmiki by the power of mantra. Is not that mantra very powerful? And that mantra was Mara. So that's why Mara has become this powerful mantra. They said, and that's why they say this after Swami Vivekananda gave speeches in English, and his book in English. So English has become like Deva Bhasa. We cannot confine only Sanskrit to be Deva Bhasa. The language in which gods speak or godly persons speak, that becomes the language of God. So English is also now Deva Bhasa. And of course, the Bengali which Sri Ramakrishna spoke, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke, that is also Deva Bhasa. In fact, every language is Deva Bhasa. Acharyas have spoken in all the languages of South. And great Tulsi Das spoke in language Hindi. Like that, every saints, Ankar Dev spoke in Assamese. So all the languages have become Deva Bhasa, because God has been described in those languages. The language in his God has been described. So even somebody said, even the English has become the Deva Bhasa. You can say only Sanskrit is holy and pure. All these languages are holy and pure because of great teachers of mankind have spoken this language. So that's like that. The great Narada gave this mantra to Ratnakar, and Ratnakar's life was transformed. So Mara is also a holy mantra, said Krishna Kishore. Actually, Mara, he said Mara, it will come like that. So let's go to next paragraph on page 376. Sri Ramakrishna continues. Therefore, like Valmiki, one should at first renounce everything and cry to God in solitude with a longing heart. The first thing necessary is the vision of God. Then comes reasoning about the scriptures and the world. So when you have vision of God, reasoning itself will reduce. If you go on reasoning, devotion to God will not come. Always you rely on your own intellect and try to reason it out and find the way, what is right and what is wrong. How will you know what is right and what is wrong? Your mind itself is not that purified. First find out God, have the vision of God, then you can reason out what is scripture and the world, what is the relationship between God. Then you can try and explain that thing. And he said, Valmiki, first he renounced everything and cried to God in solitude. Yam was doing that. Sri Ramakrishna once said, live in solitude for 6 months, 1 month, 1 week, 3 days, even 1 day. And whole day utilize that in repeating God's name. No disturbance from anyone. Like that, Sri Ramakrishna had said. And Yam lived in Dakshineswar for 21 days so far, and without going home. And he was absorbing Sri Ramakrishna. And with to live with his guru and Sri Ramakrishna, the Yuga Avatara, he's living so fortunate. That's why it was very important phase in the life of Yam. So Yam meditating on the teachings of Sri Rama, conversations of Sri Ramakrishna with the people, and everything coming to his mind when he wrote this, which date, which time, all that. So the whole conversation coming to his thought like a photograph, like a movie, and he's noting down that Vyasadeva and Ganesha in one. That was him. Vyasadeva to write Mahabharata, he needed Ganesha. Here, M is seeing, and to write in such a way, it has to be divine power. It has to be the blessing. And that blessing was Sri Ramakrishna's blessing. That's why M could do this great work so thoroughly, writing the conversations of Sri Ramakrishna. Long, long conversation. How he remembered all that. It has to be by his grace, by the grace of Sri Ramakrishna. All could come scenes after scenes, and every word what Sri Ramakrishna spoke, what other person replied, what was the question of other person, what was Sri Ramakrishna's reply. All this he could hear and see, and then he could write all that in details. So that was some divine plan, and all this divine power came to him by doing sadhana like that, staying with Sri Ramakrishna. All the holiness and the spiritual power, all he also absorbed. Sri Ramakrishna gave to Swami Vivekananda, I give everything to you, and now I have become fakir, I have become beggar, said Sri Ramakrishna. But that becoming beggar is not being devoid of all spiritual power. We have to understand what the beggar means. I have given everything to you means whatever power I had, I transmitted that to you. That doesn't make Sri Ramakrishna zero of spiritual power. He has always that, the power, knowledge, spirituality. When given, it doesn't empty the giver. Giver is ever full. But the who receives and who can retain, he is also full. It is that way. Why Sri Ramakrishna was crying and why he said, I am beggar, means I didn't hold any of this spiritual power and realization or whatever I had. I totally and fully gave you everything, as if I have become beggar without retaining anything. That people give to beggars, some like give $1, having $100 in their pocket. They give $1, $99 they still have. So beggars are done that way. But here, if you give $100, then you have nothing left. So Sri Ramakrishna gave everything to Swami Vivekananda, by which power all Swami Vivekananda acted. And his whole work of moving the whole world was by the power of Sri Ramakrishna that flowed through Swami Vivekananda. He could do this. So what I was going to say is, not Sri Ramakrishna only gave the spiritual power to Narendranath to make him Swami Vivekananda, but Sri Ramakrishna gave that power to him also, though he never mentioned. But without the power of Sri Ramakrishna, how could him do this thing? Like as if he recorded in a recording machine and then he played and wrote that, as if he has done that way. There was no recording machine that time. It was all in his memory. The memory also, he didn't write everything. So he could just listen the thing very nicely and noted something, and then to write something, you forget. He wrote after many years of Sri Ramakrishna passing away. And but the sceneries and the words all came to his mind one after another. It's not possible without the divine blessing or divine will of Sri Ramakrishna himself. So he says, first God, and pray to God, cry to God in solitude with a longing heart. The first thing necessary is the vision of God. That's what Sri Ramakrishna is saying is first God. Uh, to M. Now he was saying that to first to Rakhal, then to Rakhal and M. Now he points out to looks at M and he says to M. That is why I have been telling you not to reason anymore. I came from the pine grove to say that to you. Through too much of reasoning, your spiritual life will be injured. You will at last become like Hazra. I used to roam at night in the streets all alone and cry to the Divine Mother, O Mother, blight with thy thunderbolt my desire to reason. Tell me that you won't reason anymore. Sri Ramakrishna wants word. And so he found that Yam's spiritual progress is being hampered by his nature of reasoning the things too much. And he said, I had gone to Pine Grove for nature's call, and he came for that purpose to say to Yam how much his love of Sri Ramakrishna, you see. You can just imagine love of Sri Ramakrishna for the devotees. He said, that's why I told you, came from the pine grove. And I told you because that struck to him. He's such a wonderful devotee. And this reasoning has taken away his spiritual, is stunting his spiritual growth. So he should give up the reasoning and he should have faith in the words of the Master, words of Sri Ramakrishna. And that's how his progress will be faster without any hindrance. So that's how say, don't reason. I said to you, that Sri Ramakrishna points out, he's just showing how much love and feeling and caring he had for his devotees. He could sacrifice anything for the sake of the spiritual progress of the devotees. And then he says, after saying that, he says, tell me that you won't reason anymore. Sri Ramakrishna very rarely said this way to forcing the things. Things done anyway, it will be done. So he said, he gave the choice, take it, whatever you want to take it, never force. Someone said, why don't you accept what he is saying? He said, what? Accepting without being convinced? No, that is not the way of learning. If you say, yes, I accept without being convinced, you will not really accept that. You just say in word that I accept, but you won't accept. But here is forcing, as if forcing him to say, tell me that you will not reason anymore. Promise to me that reasoning you will not do. So this is the force he is doing to his own dear disciple for the sake of mankind, that when he will not reason, he will have the true faith and in the words of Sri Ramakrishna and will write with all devotion the things that Sri Ramakrishna is speaking that is good for mankind. Whatever the words fell from the mouth of Sri Ramakrishna, then he will have no hesitation in writing anything that Sri Ramakrishna is saying. If reasoning would be there, then he would reason, oh, he said that perhaps, but this is not good for mankind, so I will not write that. So like that would not happen. That's why he made him promise, tell me that you will not reason anymore. M says, yes, sir, I won't reason anymore. What a beautiful student and teacher relationship. Sri Ramakrishna forcing him to tread the right path, to do the great work. And he's accepting, no, sir, I will not do. Know the greatness of his teacher. When Sri Ramakrishna is saying in this way, so Guru's words, it has to be kept. Swami Vivekananda said, no, you have to have so much faith in the words of Guru. That Guru says, climb this palm tree and jump from there. You should not hesitate at all to climb the tree and jump from there. That may mean you will die, dash on the ground and you will die. But you should not hesitate to do that because your Guru has said, that means it is for your good. Whatever Guru said, that is for my good. Guru will say nothing that is not good for me. That type of idea. No Guru says go to the palm tree and climb and jump from there. But what Swami Vivekananda said, this much of trust in the words of Guru. And Yam had that. And person like him who has studied so many things, so many authors, and he was full of that. And Sri Ramakrishna wants to take promise, you will not reason out the things that you have studied, or you what you hear from here about God or about conversation, and say, I will not reason anymore. At once, M said, yes, sir, I won't reason anymore. What a relationship between teacher and the disciple. Wonderful. That's called Asharyo Vakta Kusalasya Labdha. What Nachiketa says in what Yama says in Kathopanishad, you find it here. Master, everything can be achieved through bhakti alone. Yam was thinking that the knowledge, path of knowledge is my path. Yet Sri Ramakrishna is emphasizing him. Bhakti is not less. Because if Yam becomes one-sided or Swami Vivekananda becomes only for Jnana, so then how this Sanatana Dharma, having all the faculties of our yogas, how will they preach? They are not the acharyas like preaching one type of thing. They are the vehicles of avatara. There is difference between Swami Vivekananda and other great acharyas. Acharyas come to establish their point of view. So that is the purpose of acharya, whoever is acharya, the great prophets. But Swami Vivekananda, whom we consider as acharya, is different. He is the vehicle of Sri Ramakrishna's message. And Sri Ramakrishna is not acharya, he is incarnation of God who has come to establish dharma. Sthapakaya cha dharmasya, dharma sansthapanarthaya. So that is the purpose of incarnation of God. And when the purpose is establishing dharma, dharma in totality has to be established, not one-sided, one side of the dharma or a portion of dharma or particular path of dharma. Whole dharma has to be established. So Vivekananda, the acharya of our age, has to fully aware of that and fully developed in all the yogas, and then he can write karma yoga and jnana yoga and bhakti yoga and raja yoga, all work so wonderful for the humanity. The greatest gift of Swami Vivekananda, they say, is these four yogas. All these four yogas described so beautifully, and this all he did in the West, in the United States. Everything can be achieved through bhakti alone. Those who want the knowledge of Brahman will certainly achieve that also by following the trail of bhakti. So, bhakti doesn't mean only love of God or bhakti yoga. If you have love for God and you want Brahma Jnana, that you will attain by the grace of God. Swami Sri Ramakrishna says, try to find God through bhakti or through any means. And when you have attained God, and if God wants, and totally surrendered to God, and if God wants you to have the knowledge of Brahman, He will grant that. You don't have to worry for that. As for Himself, who did have all the devotion, his practice was to realize the Divine Mother. But came Totapuri and said, do you want to learn Advaita Vedanta? He said, I don't know. I have to ask my mother. So who was mother? Divine Mother Kali. He went there and he said, Mother, one monk has come, Nangta has come, and he says he wants to teach me on Advaita Vedanta. Vedanta, I don't know what Vedanta is. What should I do? He said, my mother said, my child, I have brought that sannyasin, that monk here for teaching you Vedanta. So you must learn Vedanta from him. So it's all Divine Mother's plan. That's how it happens to everyone, says Sri Ramakrishna. Just first realize God in one form. And then God, if God wants, he or she will guide you whatever you need, whatever is needed for the humanity. So somehow you try to realize God. That's what Sri Ramakrishna is emphasizing into Rakhal and Yam. Can a man blessed with the grace of God ever lack knowledge? Beautiful. At Kamarpukur, I have seen grain dealers. How every example Sri Ramakrishna finds a spiritual message in everything that happens in the world. Unique. You will not find this in any other place. There can be something. Everything that he sees, anything, and he finds some spiritual message in that event, in that action going on. Can a man blessed with the grace of God ever lack knowledge? So he has realized God through bhakti. Then how can he will be deprived of knowledge? If God wants, he will have knowledge of God. At Kamarpukur, I have seen grain dealers measuring paddy. As one heap is measured away, another heap is pushed forward to be measured. The mother supplies the devotees with the heap of knowledge. So this is what is saying. The devotee of mother, when he has got so much of love and mother is always with him, mother will provide knowledge. And how does she provide knowledge? And he gives the example of uh, people selling paddy. Paddies are put in heaps on the ground, and there is one person with the balance. He weighs the paddy. On one side is the weight, another on another balance, another pan of the balance, the paddy is put, and he keeps the paddy and then he gives that. Like that, the heap gets little smaller. But there is another person on the back of the heap. He pushes the heap so that this person who is weighing does is not. There is always supply of paddy for him to weigh in the balance. So that's why Sri Ramakrishna says, like that, the Divine Mother always supplies knowledge to those have to give that knowledge, those who need knowledge. There is no dearth of supplement or supplying of the thing for the person who has got Divine Mother as the pusher of the heap of paddy. So Holy Divine Mother will be always pushing the paddy of knowledge to that person who has devotion to God, who has realized God. So anyway, try to realize God first, says Sri Ramakrishna. After attaining God, one looks on a Pandit as a mere straw and dust. Padmalochan said to me, what does it matter if I accompany you to a meeting at the house of a fisherman? With you, I can dine even at the house of a pariah. So he gives the here example, you see, how person, if he is with God or God realized or divine, whatever is there, there is the richness of spirituality, how people change their ways. So he says that mere Pandit knows only scholarship of the scriptures, but not real devotion had grown. Love for God has been there. Only Panda are doing the worship without any devotion in the temple. And he says, I look upon them are mere dust and straw, worthless. They are with God. They speak about God, but without being convinced themselves, we are without practicing the truth that they preach. So it becomes like just like parrots speaking without understanding. Mm, भारस्य वाही न तो चंदन से यथा खरा चंदन भार वाही भारस्य वाही न तो चंदन से. When donkey was carrying the load of sandalwood, and the load is high and he's walking, and the person said, he's carrying the sandalwood, does he know the value of sandalwood? No, he knows only the weight that he's carrying, because he's donkey. He doesn't know the value or valuable wood he's carrying. It is not the firewood, it is the sandalwood he's carrying, so much expensive, so beautiful fragrance. But that mm, khara, that donkey, is without knowledge. Like that becomes the person who is without any devotion to God, and yet wants to talk a lot about God in beautiful words. Bhag Vaikhari, Shabdachari, Shastra Vyakhyan Kausalam, Vaidusyam Vidusam Tadvat Bhuktaye Natu Muktaye. The Pandits, they explain the scripture in such a beautiful language, and a very flowery language, and explanation are so wonderful. But that is for bhukti, that is not the mukti, that they do not do for the sake of attaining liberation or freedom or spiritual realization. They want some money for that, some remuneration for that, and like the professor teaching in the university. And mostly are just because they will get salary. They read something, study, prepare note, and then they teach. And that has nothing to do with their life or something, because they are not deep into that. So that has become like the straw in the name of, in the that's what Swami Sri Ramakrishna describes, straw and dust. He said, if I see a pandit has devotion, then I am afraid of him. Otherwise, I just look upon him as just dust and straw. If afraid means his expression, but he says, I respect him, that he has the metal in him. And he gives the example, which seems to be what the connection being, saying that the scholars without devotion are like mere straw and dust. And Saint Padmalochan said to me, with you, Father, I can go to, I can dine with fisherman's house. I can go to fisherman's house, and with you even I can go to Pariyas and dine there. Padmalochan was a traditional pandit, scholar. But he had grown, seeing Sri Ramakrishna, he had understood the very cream of spirituality. And he knew that Sri Ramakrishna is that person, whether divine incarnation or not doesn't matter. But he is the real spiritual manifestation of the spirituality. That Padmalochan had understood. He has understood Sri Ramakrishna as highly spiritual, and whatever he does is just example. And he said, if we are going to fisherman's house, fisherman was Mathur Babu. He belonged to the lower caste. And there was so much of caste system there, region, caste system, region society. Sri Ramakrishna came to just modify it and say that there is in every caste there can be great person, devotee like Mathur Babu. What you say about the fisherman caste and this caste? Where's caste system in it for Mathur Babu? And Sri Ramakrishna said, devotees do not have caste. Only one caste they belong, and that's the caste of devotees. All Brahmin and Shudras and Vaishyas and fishermen caste, all they become one caste, and that is the devotee caste. So Padmalochan was a follower of caste system, and he said, "But if you are going to go with you, so I will not be polluted. I know." When you are going, it's all purity. I can go not only to Mathur Babu's place, house, a person of the fisherman caste, but I can go with you to the lowest caste. And even if you want me to eat, I can eat with them, I can dine with them. So, this much of flexibility in the scholar Pandit of that time, Sri Ramakrishna could bring through the power of his spirituality. What a great change in the society. They say, oh, social reformation is important. Sri Ramakrishna taught how to love God, and he taught that only singing the name of God, Dema ama pagal kore, askaz naima gyan bichare, only make me mad with thy love. I don't want any reasoning and any knowledge. Just make me mad with thy love. He taught that. Was Sri Ramakrishna teaching only that? Through that, how much change in the social fabric, respect for the humanity, equalization of all the caste, how he's bringing, changing that in his own lifetime, and how much that is work through Swami Vivekananda, through Holy Mother, through the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, through their disciples. You know that once in South India, there were devotees will come to Sri Ramakrishna ashram on the celebration day. But so much caste ridden was the society. They would come, and then while taking prasad, they would say, no, we'll have to go home, we have to do some work. They will not take prasad in the ashram, but they will do the worship, voluntary and all that. So why they won't eat? They belong to Brahmin caste, and there was all people eat together. They said to Swami, if you can make a provision that Brahmins sit in one row and others sit in another row, then also we can eat. But you don't. But Swami said, no, we don't do that. We don't make any distinction in the devotees. No Brahmin, no Kshatriya in devotees. Like, but these very people, those very caste-ridden society, when they go to Puri, there have been custom of thousands of years. They all sit together. They don't demand that I am Brahmin and I sit with the other caste. Why should I sit with the Pariya? They don't say. There they eat food because that has been the tradition. This Puri thing has to go to every house in their heart. So that is yet not practiced even Sri Ramakrishna's time. Gradually, slowly, it is being done. Fortunately, that caste distinction or caste segregation of the caste is now going away. And how Sri Ramakrishna made this Pandit Padmalochan to say that he said to Sri Ramakrishna earlier, that with you I can go anywhere, because you are a burning example of spiritual purity. With you, nothing can be impure. Even if you caste is low caste, high caste, doesn't matter with you. So that impurity should be felt in the heart. Sri Ramakrishna praised one, I think it is Krishna Kishore, who had gone to some pilgrimage and walking on foot, and he went to and was thirsty while walking. He asked for a person to give water to drink from the well, and that person said, no, no, I cannot give you. You are a Brahmin, you are a higher caste, I am a low caste. How can I give you water to you? And that person said, what are you saying? Low caste, impure? Not that. Just say Shiva, Shiva. And then he said, Shiva, Shiva, and give me water, I will drink. So, saying the name of God once, if you are impure, you become pure, you become pure like the highest caste. That's what Sri Ramakrishna liked this thing, and he used to say this to the devotees. That person said that, and he so orthodox, but he did that. Padmalochan so orthodox, but devotees can have that thing. This type of revolution, when Swami Vivekananda said, I don't want that social reform of the systems at the level of leaf and the branches. I want root and branches and trunk reformation. I want reformation at the very root level, so that there is nothing left. That's why he said, for the caste system. He didn't say caste system should not be there. He said caste has no harm in having different castes. It's just a division of labor. It's a social structure. It has nothing to do with spirituality. And there is no need to break that system. But what needs to be broken is the privilege, is the idea that one caste is higher and another caste is lower. This wrong idea about the caste has to be broken, pulverized, powdered, and all castes should be treated as equal. That's how Swami Vivekananda gave the solution, very permanent solution for this. And that is being followed now slowly. The India is slowly coming to change the mass, such a huge body issue, mass of the society, to change everyone, their traditions, their forefathers' ways. It takes time, but fortunately, all these signs are there. It is taking on the right direction. Thakur Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother Swami Vivekananda's teaching is percolating in the society, and they are now. This society it seems that way, that these things very we see sometimes here in the news. It has become now news that in that village some people didn't allow to in their private temple didn't allow the people of other caste to enter. So it becomes news. It becomes abnormal thing, very rare thing. That's why it becomes news. Earlier it was there in many places like that. Now that is gone. So when we get the news like that, nothing to worry. It is a sign of progress that this has become the news now. That means everywhere people are allowed. Equality, treating people as equal, has now being practiced in all over India. Whenever there is this aberration, then it becomes news. So this is how Sri Ramakrishna was so happy that Padmalochan could say that thing, that I can go to any party and dine with you if you are going. Everything can be realized. Oh, it's already time. Okay, there's much of explanation today. So next Friday, perhaps what is the date today? 21st, 28th. Next Friday, I will be doing this class only online. We will not be in person. I'll be doing the class from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I have to go there to the Vedanta Society there. They have invited me. And thank you very much for today's class, the gospel class. Next Friday will be our the class of the Uddhava Gita from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, only online. And also Sunday service also will be from Pittsburgh, only online, no in person next Sunday. But the coming Sunday, it will be in person and online both on the Sons of Divine Mother, just a day before, one day before the Kali Puja. or the Diwali. So thank you very much. Now we conclude today's class by closing chants. Please join me. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. Thank you and good night to everyone.